Lady of the faucet, just get it. Woo!
Woo! Yeah. It's hard to walk. It's hard to walk. Back to riches. Back to riches. It's hard to walk. It's hard to walk. Back to riches. Just back to riches. It's hard to walk. It's hard to walk. Back to riches. Back to riches. It's hard to walk. It's hard to walk. Back to riches. Just back to riches. Got my call from the R2R. Farmers going up, Brody, check the chart. In the loops, buying all these plots. Thomas G and Mike got the chat on lock. With a drip and pause. Got these dogs and pigs from me, I'm ready to score. Got me a bag of the rich and hard, I think I need more. Group got me in the wave, now I'm swimming the shore. I'm up to the core. It's hard to walk, it's hard to walk. Back to riches, back to riches. It's hard to walk, it's hard to walk. Back to riches, just back to riches. It's hard to walk, it's hard to walk. Back to riches, back to riches. It's hard to walk, it's hard to walk. Back to riches, just back to riches.
All right. Okay. Welcome. Let's get the. I like that music better. Let's get the show on the road. Welcome to R2R. Welcome to Rich Wrecked Riches. Don't forget to smash the like button, drop a comment, subscribe, post notifications. You know the drill. You guys know the drill. Get the YouTube algorithm going over on X as well. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell your cousins, tell your wife. We're live. And before we continue, always remember, I am not a financial advisor. I'm for damn sure not a professional. This is for pure entertainment purposes. Don't ever allow an influencer on any social media platform out there to influence you when it comes to cryptocurrency. Because you could get wrecked. Could lose it all. Right? Now that we got that out the way. Where's my damn music? There we go. There we go. All right. So, guys, we're going to talk about it. Very sensitive subject for a lot of people. PulseChain. Is it a dead chain? Or is it a sleeping giant? It's now the time to buy. Right? What's going on? We'll get to the prices of PulseChain before we continue. We're gonna look at Bitcoin real quick. Shout out to the sponsor of the R2R live stream and video content. Hop over to dexfy.com/bonds, where they've already paid out a whopping $819,548 in USDC over on Base Chain. That's valued at $1.6 million. What do you get? You get exposure to the same strategies that they use. You get the expert entry, exit timing, and precision managed liquidity and range settings. APR right now is 27.6%. Hop over on Base, mint your bond with some Ethereum. Costs $64 right now to mint the bond. Real cheap with the prices that they are today. So don't forget, guys, head over to dexfy.com/bonds. Get that passive income. Get that passive income. Listen, I know it hasn't been fun. All right. And I'm not a believer in the super cycle. I made videos that we've hit the 4-year cycle of the tops. We did same exact time frames, guys. In 2013, 4 years later, 2017, 4 years later, 2021, and now 4 years later, 2025. All within October to December, the end of the 4-year cycle, which in this one, the top of Bitcoin was $126,000. Even got the Tom Lees out there who are bullish on Ethereum to hit 20K, now saying it's going to 15,000. Oh, Tom Lee finally finds out there's 4-year cycles, right? Bitcoin right now at $87,371. Look, guys, I've been saying it just because, not just to say it, but the top happened. All right. A lot of good people out there called the top on the day. Shout out to you. Shout out to you who knew. But, you know, it's hard to predict the markets because you have so much like institutional money. Michael Saylor buys every Sunday, you know, on the weekend, and price goes up, it goes down. People get excited for Monday. Yeah, Michael Saylor buys on Sunday. Bitcoin went to 90K, then it dropped right back down. I think 2026 is going to be a real ugly January. But what does that mean? Well, before we go into PulseChain, right, guys, if you're going to do perpetuals or spot trade, but mainly you degen gamblers, stop giving the centralized exchanges your money. It's times like this where they collapse and fall apart, and they go, oops, we're going out of business, we're bankrupt, we're insolvent, and they take your money. You want to do all that, do it on a decentralized exchange. The link's in the description for Astrodex, where you can simply trade perpetuals or buy spot. You know, you can do your Bitcoin, you can do your Ethereum, your BNB, your Solana. You know, obviously, if you're bearish like me, then you know you're probably going to short. Either way, got a fat lipper. Blah. Anyways, either way, do it safely. Not your keys, not your crypto. Who taught you that? Good old Richard Hart, right? Good old Richard Hart. Now back to the subject. Let's take a look at what should we look at first? Let's look at ProveX. Right? Let's look at ProveX. In 19 hours, there's going to be that rate hike, right? Where you get less points per dollar spent. Raised 16.3 million in 48 days. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Bearish, bullish? You tell me. Tell me in the comments. Is that a good thing for a Richard Hart sacrifice? Don't worry, I'll wait. Go in the chat. Tell me, is the 16.3 million? All right, let's not forget the 0.3. Is that bullish or bearish? For a Richard Hart sacrifice, we saw what PulseChain did. We saw what the PulseX sacrifice did. Hell, I put a lot of money into both of them. This is not nearly as close as what it was back in the day, but hey, after what PulseChain has done in the past, let's take a look at PulseChain. We gotta look at. This is gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard. Let's take a look. Where's deck screener? Here I am. Here we are. Oh, we got somebody bearish at mine F. At mine F says it's bearish. Well, let's take a look at the chart from the beginning of time when PulseChain launched, right? May of 2023. We are at the lowest of the lows of the all-time lows. Not all-time highs. Not all-time highs. PulseChain is going to be 3 years old in the next 6 months. And we're at the all-time lows. But if you're a believer that we're going into a bear market, right, like I am, I mean, what else would you expect, right? What else would you expect? What could you do at this point? Hold or sell? Your two options, hold or sell. You know, what are you trying to get out of this? Mad gains? You're trying to get out with whatever you can, whatever you can salvage? Everyone's got a different opinion and strategy to this. Did I believe we were going to be here 2.5 years from launch? No. I thought we were going to be much higher. But it's proven time and time again, including the January 2024 beginning of the year green candle, that was basically exit liquidity, but it was money that was transferred over from the SAC wallet. Everyone got excited, but what did they do? Sold it down. Every time this wallet that's associated with the sacrifice wallet, now we can't trace really much because it's all been tornado cashed. We just had an event recently where that pump was recreated with a good amount of money, sold into it. And Richard Hart talked about it too in his recent video. Now, I was going to do originally a video in regards to the recent video he made. I was going to give my 2 cents. Instead, I watched everybody else talk about it. Right? Richard had blocked me, and days later he unblocked me. Why he unblocked me, I have no idea. I have no idea. Maybe he was just like, maybe this guy is bullish and bearish at the same time, and maybe he liked the last video I made where I talked about, how I felt about getting blocked. I was just like, your favorite, somebody I looked up to for so many years before Hex had even launched, right? And even when he unblocked me, I was still like, man, like, this is not a good experience. It's like you go up to, I saw John Jones one time at a nightclub in LA, and people were taking pictures of him. So I respectfully walked up to him and asked, "Can I get a picture with you, John Jones?" And he waved me off and he said no. And he, even till this day, is my favorite fighter. But I was so bitter. So I guess that's what it felt like for me. And I still wanted to do the good fight and talk about PulseChain, but I've taken a break from it, to be honest with you, since that moment. Because I always felt like my interaction with Richard, because I had supported him for so many years, was going to be like something awesome. And it was like, whoa, I got blocked. And then when I got unblocked, I was like, cool. Like, that's not what I wanted. That's not how I pictured my first interaction with him as like a big fan. I didn't put just 10,000, 20,000. I put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the PulseChain sacrifice. And all these years I've made content through the ups and downs while a lot of people capitulated, and I still tried to push, the narrative of PulseChain is going to get new users. PulseChain is better than Ethereum, cheaper, faster, quicker, the whole 9 yards. And that killed my energy. So I haven't talked much about PulseChain lately, right? And you see a lot of that through this entire time frame because of the SEC. Then he defeats the SEC, and people sold into that. So it's almost like the economic energy has gone away, right? A lot of the dry powder that people could have had or feel like they should have had wasn't enough to continue to bring the prices back up, even when the SEC was defeated for the first time ever by a founder who wasn't going to fold his cards and pay a $30 million fee. He went the distance and beat him. And it was nice. It was good for DeFi, but nobody out there appreciated it, not even the community. They were excited, but it was more excitement like, pump my bag so I can get out, because every pump got dumped on. And we just saw today Tiago Firewhale, making an announcement in Telegram about Solid X token and, his casino, Solid X, everything that he was building. He's like, I'm not making my ends meet to sustain this, to pay for devs, to pay for everything. So I'm going to walk away until this turns around. And that's a big, not like a black eye. That's like 2 black eyes and a broken nose for one of the biggest contributors as far as a whale that was trying to believe in the greater good in the vision of Richard Hart. All the way even till Christmas, he did a very positive post in regards to Richard Hart's video. So that was a sad thing to see today. But you saw it coming. A lot of people were angry about that. A lot of people are wrecked in those positions, including myself. And there's been so many failures and narratives that have been attacked by the community. No one gets along. Richard tried to, kill PDI and basically say it was stupid. And the PDI believers that believe that that was going to peg to $1 here in the founders say it's impossible, and finally get in the news like, hey man, like, this is not what's going to happen ever. It just killed that. So everything's going down with it. So if we are in a bear market, could you expect lower lows? Could go lower. You know, maybe it adds another zero. Would that be opportunity? I would say yes and no. The opportunity in Pulse Chain has always been that these pumps were to be organic, right? Due to the fact, and we'll go to the first one here, which was the SAC funds that came over. You can believe it's Richard, believe some other entity or some good whale, whatever. Okay. That it was going to be just new users coming on board. But what new users like and are attracted to are decentralized finance, DeFi, meme tokens. You know, he finally like threw in the towel and did pump tires, and everyone utilized that, took advantage to pump it up on the community, just like they do on Solana. It's just a much smaller chain. There wasn't enough economic energy to sustain or take anything to the distance. Even most wanted token had like the most, well, you could say the greatest chance to do something big, right? And we've just seen the destruction, not only of the price, but the community. Everyone's on attack mode. And if you are even trying to build on here, you're a scammer, you know, the price goes down, you had bad intentions across the board, it hasn't been good. So that reflects the entire, you know, that's a reflection of the entire chain is the community. You know, at the end of the day, I think Richard says many times, we suck at marketing. Maybe we do. Maybe he sucks at marketing and we do. And the new users need to be the ones that we're going to come and bring new economic energy, because if it's the same crowd, all right, they're just going to trade into the pumps and continue to try to bring value. So most of the people, as far as KOLs, influencers, are here to pump their bags. My greatest thing as far as going down with the ship at this point where the price is I consistently gave love to builders, consistently got let down. I consistently gave love to altcoins and ideas, and the community does not accept anything outside of Hex and the core tokens. That has always been the primary reason the growth has been just almost impossible. So why is that? Well, a lot of the people that claim to be true RH hexicans that owned Hex and eHex saw the opportunity to get rid of their tokens before they continued to go down and exit, and it just kept bleeding out. It's as simple as that. How do you go from where we've seen today these prices to, you know, 100,000 new users in 30 days, which is nothing in crypto? It just becomes really, really, really much of what's up. How can Pulse be dead when it made new all-time lows? Yeah, you see, how do we get 100,000 new users? It's really difficult with this environment that we're in on Pulse Chain. It's really difficult to get people to believe in Richard Hart, where the firstborn child known as Hex and eHex have suffered a complete, just it's a horrible chart. If you look at the chart and you have the ability to remember, or you remember where, and this is P-Hex, right? But you remember where Hex was, the good old 10,000X. It just, there hasn't been gains to keep people around. There's nothing you could do about that. Nothing. I mean, Richard Hart has been the heart and soul of all the tokens he's ever founded, and he's been the green candles in moments of just, you know, green. And when there's green candles that are not organic and from bullish sentiment from the community and new users, this is the end result. Okay. So in his video, talks about everything being down in the market. Not entirely true, though, when you look at the grand scheme of things. A lot of things hit new all-time highs. There was a lot of meme tokens in the markets on multiple chains from Base to BNB to Ethereum that gave life-changing gains. Meme tokens. and utility tokens and EVM chains such as BNB hit new all-time highs. Solana hit all-time highs. You saw a lot of things come and hit new all-time highs. PulseChain, no. It missed the cycle, if I'm right, and this was the cycle that was the end. All right, and we've talked about, and you could go look it up and look in Chat GPT. Go look at every 4-year cycle since 2013, where I got in the middle of 2013 and I became well off on crypto, was accidentally buying the bottom between 2013 and 2017, the 4-year cycle. I just got into crypto. I was buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin at 250, Ethereum at $7. I didn't know I was even in the middle of a cycle. I was just buying. It was new tech, right? People only care about consistent green candles. They don't care about the tech or builders. All they care about is to make loot. Yeah, maybe some solid LP yields or get some, the taking away the liquidity and the incentive for incentive token Inc., right, was a big part of what we thought was the strategy, so that there's low liquidity, so it's easier to pump and get more X's. And that still stands true with as low as we are. But is it just going to be enough X's to get us to sack price and people dump, or halfway to sack price and people dump? If we're in a bear market, so it could be a long time. 2026 token, RH, possibly, but a lot of things hit all-time high. So when I saw that video, I was like, man, like, no, even gold and silver. And the sentiment of global markets, when you see, we'll go to the stock market, because gold is up, silver, what's the price of silver? Let's go to AppMax really quick, $75. And I've always been a hardcore silver stacker. I've been buying silver since $15-25. Due to the fact that I understand that inflation is no way you can get inflation into a headlock, right? So precious metals are going up, and Bitcoin is supposed to be like the digital gold. Ethereum would be like the digital silver, right? As far as the two top market caps. And when the markets start to shift into gold and silver, that means that a lot of investors are understanding inflation, believe that it's going to get worse, believe that the markets are possibly even going to go down. So it's a hedge. They're hedging their bets right now. The S&P 500 and the Dow, let's just say the S&P 500, reaching all-time highs, about to be 7,000 plus. Everything, there looks to be like an everything bubble that's in direct correlation with the end of the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin and, crypto, altcoins. That means everything. We saw an alt season. There's no way you can point anything out that didn't have great performance, as far as, like I mentioned, Solana, BNB, all those hit all-time highs. If you are on PulseChain, you want to believe in the super cycle, because you're like, we missed it, and there's no way we missed it. But yeah, there's chains that did miss it. ETH, POW, right? A lot that have in the past. And that's just because there's no users there. And if there's users there, like on PulseChain, that are not hip to the game of what people look for, then there goes your volume. So the onboarding and the marketing, Richard is right about that. It's not like me and a few people that are on here talking about it. It's the entire community of people that just group up and attack everything. There's people that are trying even right now, and it's always just a feud. So no one wants that. People just want to make money. They don't want to be involved in Twitter spaces every other day and someone's flooding their bag or something's going on, this and that. They'd rather just get rug pulled and move to the next thing and keep trying. Because if you're not trying, then, you're not going to be successful even when you fail. It's just picking yourself up and dusting yourself off and trying again. And for me, when it comes to these prices and the lack of new users and the ProveX sacrifice only hitting 16.3 mil, I go, hey, you can either exit PulseChain immediately or hold what you can hold what you want to hold on there and go down more. DCA on the dips, right? And hope it hits on the next cycle. But depending on that happening, based off history, since if we are in, I believe we ended the 4-year cycle right on time. Look at 2013, 2017, 2021, 2025. Look at the top of each of those years of all the altcoins and Bitcoin where they hit. And it's spot on between October and November, or no, October and December. This cycle reminds me of 2017's, like almost not spot on because we topped that October 5th, 2025. But we should see a bleed out continue into the early January 2026. And I believe Bitcoin will be, $45,000 to $50,000. Could be a big opportunity to put shorts, DCA, whatever it is that you do. But if it didn't make it last cycle, how would it make it the next cycle? A whole lot's got to change. And you can't just depend on the founder. You just can't. Right. And I've just gone elsewhere. Just hold my chips here and see what happens. But at a certain point, you got to know when to fold your cards and the realities of what's happening on PulseChain, what's happened the past 2.5 years. There were some big successes other than the price, defeating the SEC. He's still wanted on Interpol. That's a big deal to a lot of people. And he's still gatekept. Now he's starting to be gatekept by his own community. Gatekept meaning you go to coinmarketcap.com, you type in hex, right? And you have your PHEX and your EHEX. EHEX still not ranked where it should be, ranked 4,099 based off overall market cap. Based off what I believe the stats are to this day, with the $479 million market cap, right? You come here and you look at the market caps of everything else, right, that are under $1 billion are on the top 100, right? 479 would mean Hex would be here between, ranked here between Stacks and Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance, FET, based off market caps, right? And it's not. It's gatekept. It's run by CZ. Owns coinmarketcap.com. Hex is not on any major exchanges. The longest known token by Richard Hart. So all these still things are in play. So if that doesn't change, and even if we go into this next bear market, and in the middle of this bear market, you start buying the lows on everything you love, what's going to launch PulseChain? And I've always said that Ethereum, it's really relying on Ethereum as far as the price, but Ethereum barely touched all-time highs from the previous cycle and then went down. It didn't break to 5 to 6 to 7,000 like a lot of you guys wanted it to, so that the SAC prices would be worth billions and Richard could pump your bags. This is a blockchain. There has to be a big stable coin platform. There has to be a big DeFi platform. There has to be a lot of things that he doesn't make that attracts people, and new users have to be like an everyday thing. Even with Solana right now, people still are coming to the casino to gamble. When they leave PulseChain, it's a different story. They leave and don't come back. And that's been the story. That's what we were given. And look at Ink, man. Look at that. If you believe in the chain long term, these are great prices and you might get better. But I can point out even just the meme token, the one that's been doing the best. Where are we at here? Shout out to Tiger God Crypto. I forget his username. Trying his best to onboarding people from XRP and other chains, but been on the defense mode, under attack, and people are getting their wish, the dip. He even has one of the biggest influencers attacking him, IMB Roots. I feel kind of bad for the guy, because he wanted this to be like an onboarding tool, and he just getting sucked into the drama. somebody who's just trying their best to bring attention to PulseChain. So I can respect him for trying to do that, but there's just a lot of people that are rooting against him, and a lot of FUD, a lot of, giving people reasons to not to be too fearful to even try, right? You want people to come and try to succeed. You want people to come and think these are great prices, but that sentiment is not there. It's too much on the table. And Proof X, when it launches, right? Are we going to see enough money that's going to pump that price? And when that price pumps, people have early bird advantage with points that can sell. Some will call it even more unfair than the original sacrifices of Pulse and PulseX. So it's been very unattractive. I have not sacrificed for this. And it's like a really sad moment for the chain, but it could be a very big opportunity. The sleeping giant, right? Let's say sleeping giant. Oh, shout out to the members only. And here in the new year, we're gonna have regular members only every week again. A lot of people have been canceling. That's good, because I want to take people to Valhalla with me with the strategies that I've always used during times of uncertainty and doubt. And one thing I talked about too, as we enter into a bear market, like I said, going over to Wise Lending, where RWA vaults, RWA is going to be the next big trend, right? Real world assets, and putting that onto the blockchain where you can utilize yield. So I did a video about that the other day. You can do it either on Ethereum or Arbitrum and earn a fixed APR of 20%. Based off of real world assets. And you can take a look at that video from the other day. And, I'm just hedging my bets and putting my staples to work, right? And joining other communities and just doing what I do, right? Trying to survive just like you. I did my best to continue to do content for PulseChain. I'll continue. I'm not going to run my mouth and beat Richard Hart over the head and continue to, FUD him, but point out the obvious things that were not big successes. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel, man, I should have just bought Bitcoin. You're going to feel, I should have just bought gold and silver. And those opportunities in crypto will come during the bear. It's the best time to be an investor. And maybe you feel like you can do that with PulseChain. You just got to ask yourself, if you didn't do it the last cycle, didn't get new users, how will it this time? Green candles. Okay. So now the Ethereum SAC money is worth way less. It's just, and you've seen every time it's pumped the chain, it's dumped and gone lower. So it feels like there's not enough money in the world to sustain a pump on PulseChain unless you have tons of new people. They are going to be there to scoop the dips and stabilize the price and create the floors and create hype, and builders become successful. They just it's failed over and over and over. Every single one of them I've supported, and that's due to the community sentiment. So the community marketing, yeah, I guess you can say Richard's right. It does suck. It does suck, but you can still be a winner. We've been winners, spreading our money out on DexFi. You're earning yield. APR is still good in USDC. You can do that now, fixed and stable, heading into a bear market, a fixed 20% APR in USDC or USDT. And I've recently joined TXC in the mining. I've done countless content about it that I'm super bullish about. A layer 2 that's very popular in the state of Texas, has a huge community of people that are supporting it. Be a part of the mining journey. I got tutorials in the link in the description for that as well. You can buy it on Ethereum. You can go be a miner. I have all that education out there. But for me, it's refusing to lose is why I take my money and I do other investments. And I'll talk about that in the members videos. We'll start again at the beginning of this year and get regular on a weekly basis so that we can survive together on what I think will be good technology. And I think the market's going to definitely, like we talked about Fyro, in this next cycle, a big meta and thing that's going to be the strongest use case for crypto is privacy. Everyone's going to want and go, shelter in privacy tokens. And there's a lot out there. It's not just, the Zcash. There's Fyro, there's Beam, there's Pivx. There's a lot of things you could utilize as far as cryptocurrency to get your privacy. And ProveX is one, but there is other platforms just like it. And there's even one that's just like it. It is called ProveX by a company called ProveX. And that's a big controversy within itself, right? Are they going to come after Richard because he took the name? I don't know, but seems like everyone has gone after him. And right now, unfortunately, there's a big entity that wants him in cuffs for tax evasion. So we haven't gotten over that hump yet as well. Something like when you're a person or a human being, a man or woman, you have to face these things in life, the hard things. If I did something and I owed my government money and I couldn't pay it, and they wanted me to take me in, I wouldn't run. I would face it and do the time. CZ could have took off and never been seen again. He went to prison. So obviously Richard Hart does not want to face that. I don't blame him. Who wants to go to jail or be, taken into custody? But, when the time comes, if he doesn't take that head on, the roosters always come to roost. And that could affect the chain at a good moment or a bad moment. While it's down, make it worse. While it's up, bring it back down. So there's a lot of things that are on the table still that have yet to be resolved that are going to be future problems, right? Because it would be a big event of Richard Hart all of a sudden hit headlines that he was under custody. And people would be like, well, there goes our money that's going to pump the bags, right? Because everyone believed it's the SAC money. That's what would happen. And then speaking of Solid X, said he's done, told the community. Everyone sold today, down 46%. And could it get any worse, right? There's one big event. Like I said, it's there without a shadow of a doubt. Like it, love it, accept it. Somebody wants to put him in jail. And whether he owes those taxes or not, he's going to have to deal with it. He's going to have to face it. Maybe he does some time. Maybe he pays it. Who knows? But the entire chain has been surrounding him and supporting him that he was going to be the one to take us to the moon. And I was like, well, we got to do that ourselves, So, dang, Solid X, 16K liquidity. Oh, man. Is America just a Zionist rent boy at the stage, or does America actually have a spine left? It's hard to tell, man. We have people that run this joint. Let's see. If it wasn't for PDI, I'd be gone. PDI is a bit fun. I have printers printing anywhere from 0.5 to 1% a day. Of course, price is low, but I have faith. That's good. When you believe in something, you want to see, you don't want to quit in the middle, quit in the end until it's done. That's how I see it. So I'm just spreading my money out, preparing for a bear market. Obviously, if that's the case, then it's going to be a while for PulseChain to recover, but at least it's at its all-time lows now. It's like it's front running what I believe is going to happen either way in the stock market, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And they'll hit all-time lows and recover like they always do in the 4-year cycles. But that doesn't mean that your chain is going to follow the path. And you've had proof, because in between this current cycle, which would be 2021 to 2025, PulseChain literally launched at the bottom mid-cycle. Mid-cycle, PulseChain launched. And let's take a, what was the price of Bitcoin May 2023? That's the question. I'm going to look it up really quick. So the price of Bitcoin in May of 2023, we'll take a look. See if I can bring it up. Yeah, we can take a look at what that was. So this is when PulseChain launched right here, right? The price of Bitcoin was $26,000. It basically launched at the bottom of the cycle, in the middle of the cycle between 2021 and 2025. Bitcoin was $26,000, guys. It went up 100 grand to hit a top in October 5th, 2025. And PulseChain went down the entire time while everything went slowly up and to the right. It hit new all-time highs. We saw a crazy meme coin run on Ethereum and Solana. We saw crazy fart coin hit over $1 billion. Okay. So let's take a look here. PTGC question. If PulseChain fails, is PTGC fail as well? Is there an option for PTGC to diversify? And they go down with the ship based off bonded liquidity. And the problem with the PTGC is if you're going to attract a whale, like somebody who's going to go 500,000 to $1 million, does it make sense to pay a 6% fee? That's a lot. 6% of $1 million is a $60,000 hit in. And if you sell it at a loss, it's going to be 6% out as well. And that ain't a small fee. And they're not willing to pay that. That's something Firewhale said publicly in a Twitter space. So PTGC for me, and I've been told by many developers, it's not special tech. The alien tech thing is just, a buzzword. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I believe in the multiplier. It's going to do the same direction as PulseChain and go down. And the problem is when you go up, you have a lot of PTGC whales that have a lot of tokens. As we look at the price here, right? They have a lot of tokens that they're going to want to get out when things come, up. And this is a great looking chart, from beginning to where we're at now. But it has so much more room to respect this red candle right here. And you can mark it at 5 zeros and a 2-1 during a bear market. So if you like it, you can get it probably for way cheaper in the near future. It would be my belief. Been thinking of getting into PDI. What could drive it up? Belief. And I'm not one to want to touch it after Richard basically disowned it and said it's not real. Can't happen. All right. The math's not there. The liquidity is not there. Where would the money come from to peg it? Yeah, there's where would the money come to peg it? I don't think there's a fix for that. I don't think there's a reality to it. It was a nice narrative and it treated us all well. That was the most gains you've seen on chain was PDI, and the founder himself's like, that's junk. It's garbage. It got exploited and it extracted the chain and took it down lower. And that's part of the free airdrop. World's largest airdrop became the biggest extraction. So as I'm trying not to be negative, but just point out what's happened, you notice that there's not a whole lot of upside to the story. There's a lot of downside, which can mean big opportunity if you're buying down here and it happens to take off. But if it takes off, people will sell into that. So you would have to be quick to the punch. There's no doubt in my mind about that. You would have to be quick to the punch to draw on your gun and exiting, unless some big event happens where a lot of new users come. A lot of people get excited again about PulseChain, but you just see the collapse of the community. You see it all over Twitter. I stopped watching, So, like I said, I've hedged my bets. I've done the DEX 5. I'm doing the Wise RWA vaults. There's a lot of good RWA projects out there too right now in existence, and I found a big opportunity that I absolutely love, and I make a ton of content about TXC and supporting that. Links in the description if you want to join. It's all about finding good opportunities. They're coming out the layer 2 that's going to have a stable token that is going to represent layer 2, and the transaction fees are going to be paid in TXC, and they have the network to utilize it to allow people to buy goods and services in the good state of Texas. And that's a big support system out there when it comes to Texas and the people out there. And then, of course, Bitcoin, if it hits my target of 44,000 to 50,000, that's a great buy, right? That's a great buy in this next cycle. So don't forget, guys, pound that like button, drop a comment. Till next time, we'll do it again. Yeah, dog.
I wake up in the morning, telegram in hand, onto our community, the coolest in the land. Cheese cream drops a joke, got me laughing loud. Then I start to scroll down through the daily crowd. Who's the OG printer, lighting up the zone? Is it Dama Beast or Sav on the throne? Or maybe it's Friday, Flexmas is here. Time to throw some gains and flex without fear. I toss out some questions, looking for the signs. Inside fixes ready, dropping out for lines. I keep on reading, can't look away. Those spicy emojis make my whole day. Then someone yells exit, get off PulseChain, but I ride the waves through pleasure and pain. I live in a limbo of hope and despair, but we're all in this boat and I'm proud to be there. Yeah, I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild DeFi game. I might end up wrecked, burned by the flame, but I'm with the best crew in this wild DeFi